Welcome to the Val Valley Model Railroad, update number 11. We're going to call this one Project Sicamous. Project Sicamous is a narrow shelf that starts here underneath the Turd Nugget mine, which you can see over here in the corner, and comes out this porthole here. This is where our branch line emerges and cuts across in front of the attic door. The branch line cuts to the left over this lift-out bridge on its way up to Wilson, and there is the happy town of Wilson there. And we go back to Sicamous here, and it has a nice little farm co-op. So let's take a closer look at Sicamous. We'll start here with Sicamous, the porthole here at Sicamous. This is where the branch line comes out, and we'll take a look at where the branch line comes from. It kind of comes from this little narrow shelf that winds its way down the hill and around back into the town of Stillwater. But it also kind of ties into the Turd Nugget mine, which is hiding way back here. One day we'll do a whole video probably on Turd Nugget. It's pretty cool. It's not quite finished, but we got a nice little road here. This is where a bridge would have been had the world not been eaten up for us humans to stand in. 3D printed walls that I made with my 3D printer. Take a look at them real close. Kind of customized it. It says Val Valley, and I put the actual year that we created them. Some model railroaders like to put a year, like 1907 or whatever, to give the layout some history. I try to give it actual history. That's when it was made, and I do the same for year plates on my bridges. So this is the porthole, and as we come out of the porthole, the first thing we have is a signal. Right now showing us red. This signal shows us if the lift bridge is out. Right now you can see there's no lift bridge here in the socket. The walkway is clear and the lift bridge is folded up. So is the bridge that goes over Wallace Junction. But anyway, we're looking at the lift bridge here that connects to Sicamous from Wilson. So we'll go back and look at the light, the signal. Now, when the signal, when the lift bridge gets put in, the signal goes to a yellow, as seen here, this indicating that the bridge is in. Yellow also shows that the very next signal may show a red. So, and we never get a green here. The best we can get is a yellow when the bridge is in. But as soon as the bridge goes out, both the signal goes to red, and starting from this point here on towards the bridge is dead trackage when the bridge is out. It's not powered, so we don't get a runaway train on the hill. Looking along, one of our other things here, we have a maintenance person working on the signal system and a battery box. We have some sections of used rail, and these backdrops are pretty cool. I've used them quite a bit on the upper level. I'm really happy with them. It sets the area, out in the woods. We're supposed to be in the Pennsylvania coal fields, and it really gives it that look and feel. They were real cheap on eBay. They were like $7.90 for a 3-foot section. Pretty good price. If you're interested in them, I'll be glad to tell you where I got them. So we move on to Sicamous Tower. Now, originally, Sicamous was going to be a junction. That's why we have a tower here. And we were going to have a interchange with another railroad here. Well, it turned into a farm co-op. We'll get more into that in a little bit. So that's why we had the tower made purchased the tower for Sicamous. Didn't become a junction, but we still have a tower here. The tower has a full interior. I don't know how well you can see this and how well I can hold the camera still. But there's a gentleman in there, there's a desk and some neat things like that. We got window shades, and unfortunately that one window shade's down at the wrong spot. An outdoor LED light and 2 people coming down the stairs. Moving on farther into the Sicamous Farm Co-op. It's a very rural place is what I wanted, and I think we achieved that. I'm real happy with the scenery for a small shelf. Let's take a look at that, because this is a really small shelf. And the reason this is a small shelf, we'll get the door here and show you. This is actually the door. As you can see, the door just doesn't leave you much room. So we're using every ounce of space. Again, there's that door. And so looking further at Sicamous, the first building we notice, or let me talk about the buildings in general, that would be better. This is the Walters Farm Co-op. Both this building, this came in the kit, and so did the other building. And what I did, because we have such little space here, I literally cut the grain elevator in half. You see it's really short. It should be probably that much deeper. I could actually have made 2 buildings out of it. And I turned it around. the other side is supposed to face the tracks. I still have to put in a delivery pipe here for the grain to come out to the grain cars. At the same time, not only did I cut this in half, but the outbuilding, or what they called the warehouse, I literally cut it in half, and I got two buildings out of it. I've got this one and the one over there. So let's take a quick look at each one real quick. I made use of this one being really close to the aisleway, and I again 3D printed some freight, which will be available on our eBay channel or eBay page for sale eventually. We got some barrels, bags of feed, boxes. Came out pretty cool. So let's get a look over here. We've got some junk in the field that's been rotten for a while in the weeds. You see a few pieces of junk there. Across the way we have a loading dock, which is also 3D printed. And the freight that's on it is 3D printed as well. The forklift is not. That is a model kit. I have no idea who made it. It was given to me. We'll thank the Bloss brothers for that. And we'll go over here and look at our grain tower. It's kind of hard to get him all in one picture. This building was nearly a disaster accident. As you can see, the decal is really nicely painted, but when it originally went on, it just crinkled, and I'm assuming this was a real old kit. And my decal solvent didn't like it and either ate it or bubbled it. It was terrible. And in removing it, we scratched it. It looked like it was really old and faded paint. So we weathered the rest of the building. The roofs all have some rust on them in different variations, as well as the top and the sides here. And we have weeds in front of it. Here's the scale house, which is lit, and so is the inside where the farmers would bring their truck of grain in. We are going to get a truck eventually to put here, like it's just pulling in, and a guy directing it. The truck would be weighed, and they would go inside and they would dump their grain on a hole in the floor, and it would be carried up through a small elevator into the top of the building for storage. And trucks would then come out this end and drive out down the road. Okay, so that's our grain elevator. Moving on to the other half of this warehouse here. We have, it too has an interior in it, but not as much as the other. We put some 3D freight that you can see just inside the doors. And if you look real careful, that is an N-scale GE FDL 16-cylinder motor. Some farmer bought a diesel motor and it's waiting to be delivered. How they got it in the door, I don't know, but it's pretty cool. It's sitting in there with some barrels. We have some more junk in the weeds over here. And I was real happy with the way the scenery turned out. The ballast is a mixture of the red ballast I use on my main line, for the branch line, with sand, and a little regular ballast and some cinders. I'm real happy the way that turned out. That looks, it looks like an old siding is supposed to look. I mean, one that hasn't had any attention since it was installed, and it's just there, and it just works, and it looks old. So this is Sicamous. And if we go out to the front here, I didn't cover it. This is the socket where the bridge goes. We'll put the bridge in place so you can kind of see how it goes here. And there, she just locks in place like that. And just to the side here, we have some ties. We have an old pile of ties that have been pulled out. And we have some brand new ones in bundles waiting to be installed. So apparently they're doing some work somewhere around here. So that pretty much covers Project Sicamous. This has been a project that I've been working on for a couple months now, and finally decided that it was ready to be shown. It's still got a little bit of work to do, but I'm pretty happy the way it turned out. And it shows you that don't write off any space, even space behind a door. I mean, what is this, 6 inches wide at the widest, and it probably goes down to like 2.5 at the narrow. I will clue you in something that won't be in the next update, but maybe the update after that. We used to have a power plant down here, and this is coming off of the lowest yard, Pearson Yard, and there used to be a power plant right in here. When I get done rebuilding it, There will be a power plant there again, and there will be a train or passenger station sitting next to it, and a little dump house right here where this scanner sits for the coal. So it's going to be an interesting project. We found a way to get two things out of one space. Again, with my layout room being so small, we have to squeeze every space. So you can look forward to that in a couple of issues to come, updates. We'll also talk more about these backgrounds, as I have a lot more to show you. We'll talk about some motive power in our next update, and a few other things that we got accomplished on the layout, and two other projects that are in the works. We started amassing supplies for the canyon at Val Valley. Well, it really doesn't look like much, and I didn't clean it up like I should have. This is going to be a canyon. We started ordering supplies and building them up, and that's why it looks like all of a sudden I get a lot done, because as I plan a project, I get a little bit when I can and have money. Oh, let's order these supplies and stock up, and then when I get them all amassed, I can do the project all at once. So that'll be one of the things coming up, probably beginning of summer. When the weather gets real good, I'll probably be into that by then. But these are things you can look forward to on the Val Valley. Thanks for watching.